Hello everyone, thank you for coming by and watching my videos on the channel. Today we'll be talking about the Lyran Commonwealth, the juggernaut of the Inner Sphere, the big German man who scouts with 50 tons if he scouts at all. However, for every stereotype, every misconception holds an opposite truth for the superstate of the Lyran Commonwealth, especially. Except for one. They are massive, and they are extremely wealthy, and they will crush you underfoot with the weight of their economic power. The era of 3025. After 3 succession wars, House Steiner managed to hold even on the FWL border and a slow but steady loss on the Curita front. Maybe not quite looking for a Hail Mary, but certainly a desperate move on Katarina Steiner's part. She calls on the other houses for peace, and all but Davion throw it back in her face. And we all know what happens next. Superstates gifted at a wedding in the most how dare you in Inner Sphere history. That gamble, however, remarkably pays off, and the restoration of the Free Rosselhog Republic pretty much costs the Lyran Commonwealth their end of the Fourth Succession War. While frustrated at the lack of gained territory, the LCAF took out that frustration on the Rosselhog public, seriously hurting the relations with the new Inner Sphere state. House Steiner is disappointed but still eager to make war and gains against their enemies. And preparing for the next war, unfortunately for them, that war will be the War of 3039. Again, we all know what happens next. Curita will be aided by Comstar, and with the new border in place, they'll have more than enough logistical support to fight back on all fronts against the Federated Commonwealth Armed Forces. With the failure of 3039, the Federated Commonwealth Armed Forces had to get their act together because they would be dealing with their biggest threat yet, the clan invasion. And in Lyran space, it's spearheaded by Clan Jade Falcon, probably the worst disaster to befall upon the Commonwealth since the rise of House Curita. A massive chunk of the Commonwealth is carved out and permanently kept by the Jade Falcon occupation force. Unlike the mercy that would be shown to House Curita, killing Smoke Jaguar, the writers would instead keep Jade Falcon around. Now, I have to agree with this decision. I think Jade Falcon's a very strong faction, but Steiner would have to deal with the consequences of the Falcon Corridor even until the Ill Clan era. However, Corridor is probably some of the best writing in the books and in the lore, so I do have to give it that. Moving on from the 3050s, we go into the FedCom Civil War era. So we get to Katarina Steiner Davion, who is more of the driving force for the Lyran Commonwealth in the Civil War than any other character. She is basically crazy, and probably the first Archon to go truly ballistic with the power of the office. And while no one won the Civil War, the Lyran Commonwealth and Catherine certainly lost. They lost territory, manpower, and industry, not to mention the most powerful alliance the setting had ever seen, in the Star Leagues included in that opinion, by the way, between the Lyran Commonwealth and House Davion. Moving on to the Jihad. The Jihad devastated the regions untouched by the clan invasion, damaging or destroying what little industry was left untouched by the clans. As the setting progressed, however, the Republic of the Sphere, led by Devlin Stone, defeats the Blakists and finally closed off the remaining salient into Davion territory. The territory is at the expense of the Lyran Commonwealth and many other superstates, but relations with the Republic seem to be cool. Although, truth be told, the Republic is a footnote in the history of the Inner Sphere. As the era comes to a close, the Lyran Commonwealth, now briefly the Lyran Alliance, is finally on an upward trajectory, capitalizing on the fall of the Free Worlds League and claiming many, many worlds. The Dark Age. Well, now no longer the Lyran Alliance, and closer to their old strength. Indeed, as they warred successfully in the Jihad against their enemies, especially the former Free Worlds League, territorially, they were almost the strongest they had been since the clan invasion. However, they seemingly throw it away on a foolish and failed bid to use Clan Wolf as a proxy against their old rivals in the Free Worlds League. Attempting to make a buffer state between the two powers at the expense of the FWL, Wolf predictably betrays the Commonwealth and turns their considerable weaponry against their supposed allies. Taking many worlds and crippling much of the LCAF, as if that were not bad enough, Jade Falcon takes advantage of the chaos, nearly pushing the LCAF back to Tharkat as well, and opening huge holes in the Jade Falcon corridor. The era indeed ending with the fall of the Republic at the hands of clans Wolf and Jade Falcon, now making filthy clanners the masters of Terra. However, the Lyrans find themselves in a position finally to retake the occupation zone of Jade Falcon, even though they are absolutely devastated. Ill Clan era. Still reeling from the betrayal of Clan Wolf and the pounding given to them by Jade Falcon, things do not go great for their first efforts in the era. With the force sent to take the former Jade Falcon worlds turning against the Archon and forming a bunch of micro-superstates within the occupation zone and keeping the military expedition, whose loyalty to the Archon was shaky at best. The rest seemingly scattered to the wind. After having most of their military desert at the gain of maybe 1 or 2 planets, the Archon must rethink and reassess their priorities as a state if they wish to survive, especially with Alaric Ward making plays for the Archon ship, though admittedly he cannot make good on that threat while building up Terra to his liking. Things are looking grim for Melissa Steiner, however all hope is not lost. Many of the old enemies of the Commonwealth seem occupied with other foes. However, they are now potentially set to be predated on by new foes. Foes of their own making, but that is for the future to tell. As always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for your time.